Hey guys, so I have a fun fact for you. Um,
What's your
did you
fun
know
fact,
bell
Cola?
peppers? Do you know
Hmm.
that bell peppers contains more vitamin C than oranges? Bam.
Oh, okay. My fun fact is, did you know that bell peppers come in more than one color?
True, that is true. That is true. It could be green. It could be green, yellow, red, orange.
Speaking of
I did pick up some
produce,
hollow.
speaking of produce, did you know that avocados, the origin of the avocados, the term, uh, originally began in Aztecs and translated to tree testicles?
I'm not
Bam.
surprised because they do look like testicles.
They look like testicles, but they also grew in pairs. And when guacamole was made, it was also coined as testicle sauce.
That's why it's so
Boom.
good. It's a big thing now.
Boom. I stick my tongue in the guacamole each time.
Now it
Give
makes
it
me
a nice
question
lick.
the eating guacamole. Now it's like, I'll go with the spinach dip. Forget the guacamole.
No, no, no. That tree just nutted in my sauce, man. Moving on.
So
But those are some pretty fun facts, especially to kind of wrap up our holiday seasons.
yeah, and then with well, I was trying to stay away from all my animal facts, so I was going to plant based.
My fun facts went from penises to going down that shaft to
Dude,
testicles. Now.
I know that. Now it's gonna move over to the Tate and then to the anus. That's what's
It's
gonna go.
evolving, only backwards.
Anyway, today's topic I want to talk about is when did you become comfortable in your own skin? When do you stop giving a shit about what people think and what you think of other people? When did that all stop for you? Like when did that stop?
Cool.
For
What
me,
are
I
you,
was telling Walker. For me, when I was 25,
Mm.
I was like, you know what? I'm done.
That was a hard stop.
So my heart stopped.
It's like once you turn 25, you're just like fuck it, and then you just strip naked and just start walking down the street.
I think that's what happened. You know, I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
when I started. That's when I started.
I'm a man now.
Going. That's when my balls drop, and then. and then
Sorry to
that's when
disappoint, but once you're older, they drop even more.
they drop even lower.
It's
So
yeah,
like-
it's worse when you start sitting on your nuts.
yeah. That's why you need to. That's why you wear briefs, boxer briefs.
Or put a bra on your testicle.
Anyways,
A
but for
training-
me it
a
was like
training bra.
I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me it's like I think it was like 25. It was like you just don't give a shit anymore. You wear what you want. Your body is your body. It's the shape of whatever you want, and that's when you get comfortable,
Okay.
right?
That's
for me,
were
that's
you
for me. I
ever
don't know
were
about
you
for
were
you.
you shamed for that?
What?
Were you shamed for that?
I was ashamed.
Well-
People shamed me for everything I did, so it's not like I was so used to it.
Mm.
It's like,
I mean-
you're too dark. Oh, you're too short. Oh, you're too hairy. Or there's all this.
What do you
stuff.
do?
So it's
What do
like,
you do when people call you too dark? Like you start painting yourself?
You don't. You just gotta you just gotta live with it. That's the reality
Mhm.
of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. My parents did tell me, or not my parents. My grandma told me I was too dark, and and my grandma definitely told me that they found me in a dumpster. That's why I'm so dark. So
I
and
got a
it's
whole
just
bunch of
become
those,
like a
yeah.
permanent stain, huh?
Yeah, it was a common thing. It was a common thing.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, they
Mhm.
found you a dumpster. It's not like It's not like some stork drop you off or right in the front of the door. Like, no, it was just I found you a dumpster. We decided to keep you. So just in case you
My
become manual labor when you get older.
my my stork apparently lived in a dumpster. That's that stork was dark too, man. It's just it didn't want to take care of me anymore, so it just like left me off with the family. But yeah, is you um, so your level of comfort just basically skyrocketed at the age of 25.
I think so. I think I figured something out, and I think
What
I
is the
did
secret
at that
of
time.
yours?
I think what was the secret is like a
You shave
whole bunch of
your whole body.
mushrooms, whole bunch of mushrooms, and like whole bunch of um, recreational drugs, and then that's like it just gives you a whole
Basically,
uh,
basically kill that part of your brain that just is associated
it's
with
it's
shame.
I mean it's basically just give you a whole thinking about things when you're like you're completely under. It's like yeah, it's like yeah, you don't have to worry about this anymore. It's like oh
Hmm. Okay. Um.
yeah, I mean
So
that's my favorite.
so like you just took a whole bunch of mushrooms and then you're you were okay. After that,
No,
kind of like I'm thinking about that Family Guy episode where Brian went on mushrooms and then he cut off his own ear, and then
I
he was
think
like, "I'm doing it to stop World War III."
oh I took it without even knowing what it was. I thought it was just
Mm.
our appetizer before dinner, and then I was just sitting there, and I was just like, "Oh, something's starting to hit," and then they tell me afterwards, and I'm just, because once they told me that what it was, I had to sit there and I had to think, and I think everything just cleared up after that. So
Okay. So again, I would have to say, what was your revelation there? Because it sounds like you had quite an epiphany to go from one extreme to the other.
um, it's just like those concerns and stuff about yourself. It's just like a lot of other people are dealing with the same issue as well. I think you're not the only person that's dealing with it. Other people are dealing with it too. It's like it's a different degrees of things. So and that's how we like
Hmm.
managed it.
Mm. Um, like I'm just genuinely curious. Like, what else did you see?
Um,
Like, what things started talking to you?
No, the thing is, that's like no, nothing talked to me. It's just like, things are moving around, things are objects are moving around, but you're like thinking about things like past events that come up to you, and you're like past events that come up to you, and like you're just resolving it in that state. It's like I want to say it's like going back into back into time and like figuring and just what you know now. It's like going back in there, you're resolving things and stuff like that, and then you're coming back. Once you come back to the future where you are, and that's how that's like an example of like how some people deal with it. But
Mm.
I thought it was amazing.
Mm.
But
Uh,
I mean, your mood going into it has to be good. You can't be going in upset about things. So yeah.
oh, okay. Uh, okay. So I too have gotten that experience through YouTube videos. No. Uh, uh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's cool that you managed to have that revelation for yourself at that age. Because how do you think it has served you so far?
I think it served me well. Like, um, for me, I'm not as I'm not as stressed or worried about it as when I was younger. Um, because when you're young, you don't know, you know, you don't have those resources, and you don't have those action plans that you do when you're younger. But once you're older, you know, you have those resources, you have those people that you can go to. Um,
Absolutely.
you know how to deal with it as an adult. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't know how to deal with it. You once you get older, like you'll have access to like alcohol, drugs, and stuff like that. That's gonna mess you up even more.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I don't think that's something. I don't think that's a message we should endorse. Don't worry, y'all. Like,
No, no,
by
no.
the age of 25, you'll have alcohol and drugs, and you'll be able to take care of your shit.
But I mean, it's like, yeah, some people don't know how to deal with it, and they uh, they what's the word? They overuse
Fall
it
into that.
too much, and like.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's when I got comfortable with things. I'm like, you wear what you want to wear. You talk to whoever you want to, because sometimes those people that are in your life when you're younger, um, you don't realize how bad they are or toxic to you until you let them go and like go on with your own thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, I think that's when I got comfortable. It's like, if I don't like the conversation, and I'm out. If I don't like the relationship and where's it going, I'm out. So it's just like that. I mean, it's just
Mm-hmm.
that's when you get older. You feels like if this person is not making me feel right, I'm out. I'm going to the next thing. I'll leave you.
Mm.
I'll leave you be. So, so yeah. Right. I
Um.
mean, like, yeah. I mean, for people that we don't like, we just don't deal with them. We don't talk to them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, for one thing, I'm just curious about like what exactly was it that got you so insecure, where you just kind of just overcame that.
Um, well, I mean, I'm not. Uh, I think Walker, you already know. Like, I'm not the ideal picture. Picture of like of of a grown man, right? Like, I'm short. I'm brown. What are some other things? Um,
Um.
it's like
Well, for our
those are like.
audience, let's assume that they let's just assume that we don't know what you look like. But I mean, it's
That's
that's
that's all. That's what happens if you don't fit into a lot of people's um, vision of
mm-hmm,
something. You're gonna get made fun of, and you're gonna be
mm-hmm,
teased. No,
mm-hmm,
yeah, you're gonna be teased and stuff like that. Like, you hang around with a community that you don't belong to. You're just gonna get teased and bullied and stuff like that. And if there's something like if there's something that people don't uh, that's something that people find that's odd about you, they're gonna make fun of it, and it happens a lot. So
yeah, and the thing everyone should come to realize at some point is just like bullies don't really go away. Um, they
no,
they just
they
they
stay
just
with you.
evolve into something different, and they're gonna be there in all stages of your life. And the one thing that life has to prepare you for, and you have to kind of prepare yourself for, is how to deal with it every step of the way, or how to build your own foundation for, you know, like not exactly not letting that stuff get to you, because no matter what, we're all human. You kind of things will get to you at some point. You're not invulnerable, but just building that foundation for yourself to where it's like you know for a fact that you are working to be a better version of yourself. So it's just sometimes it's cutting out all that noise and ignoring those kinds of haters. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Cool.
Yeah. So that's how it is. It's just like, yeah. So
Mm.
when do you become comfortable in your skin? I say 25. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, you start not giving a shit about things. It's like you don't give a shit about what you drive. You don't give a shit about um, how much you make, where you work. Um, so yeah, that's I think that's the ideal. Um, I wish we I wish people knew that when understood that when they were younger. But yeah,
Uh, yeah, for sure. That stuff's hard to see when you're younger because you're just focused on what's going on then and there. Um, but yeah, for Cola and I, we kind of grew up in those backgrounds where we were, um, mm, how do I put it? We had sort of like a mm, social disadvantage for for a lot of our situations growing up, and we weren't exactly given the same tools as everyone else to handle the situation. So we had to make do with what we had, and sometimes even required just getting fucked up in the process. Um, there's not a lot of proud moments we have growing up, but once we came to that stable level, we were able to be a bit more comfortable with ourselves. Um, I mean, obviously, uh, he would feel more comfortable than I would, um, with himself. I'm still kind of in a sort of awkward phase of just developing this new or higher vision of what I'm building up to be. But for me, I'm never truly comfortable. It just it is more in the nature of things for me, because if I feel too comfortable, I start to kind of resent things, because everything becomes a bit too mundane, or if there's no progress, then I can't exactly feel happy about a lot of things. Um, but I have dealt with a lot of teasing, a lot of bullying throughout my life. Even
well,
even
Walker
an
doesn't tell
adulthood.
you. Walker is my bully.
Huh?
Walker is my bully. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I made him my bitch, but then we started crying about it at the same time, mid sex. But uh, uh, I started crying first. But anyways, um, yeah, it was a lot of bullying growing up, but it's not necessarily something that ever went away. It just just because you're an adult does not mean that you're instantly mature. That's
No,
something
not
everyone
at
should
all.
get out of their heads. That
You
that
get
is something you need to get out of your head. That's the thing.
you get
It's just
immature when you get older.
right.
The
So
older you get, the
when
more
I
immature you are.
right, you mature over time, but it also comes with experience. You know.
Experience and like you
So
know when to do it and you know when not to do it.
hmm yeah. So the thing is, when I was young, I definitely thought that everyone knew more than I did. So I had to constantly learn. Um, and I had to constantly learn, but my my family had more of a strict background for me, so it was more of an absolution that they knew what was right no matter what. And once I got older, I started realizing um, how a lot of times they weren't that much more knowledgeable than I was about certain things. And when I started figuring that out, it was just kind of that realization of like, oh wow, like they're just flying from the seat of their pants, but they've also just done things their way and hope for the best. And when I figured that out, it was kind of at that point where it's just they kind of lost that power to hold that over my head, because at that point I'd grown to that level where I can see from their same level of perspective, but then also use that to push to different levels. But for me, I'm never really truly comfortable with myself, just because that's essentially how I was raised. It was more like you're always insecure about a lot of things, but once you hit a new point, there's always a new insecurity behind it. The only thing I can say is that you only become slightly more comfortable about how you deal with things. When I became older, I dealt with a lot of workplace bullies. I don't know if Cola remembers when we worked at certain jobs together. A lot of people used to give me a lot of crap, and I used to get mistreated a lot or made fun of a lot by our coworkers. And for me, I had to put a lot of that noise in the back, where I just like, you know what? I kind of had it in my head where it's just, I'm not trying to be at that level where I have to listen to you all the time. And that's kind of my affirmation to staying uncomfortable, because it was to keep pushing and to try and get better. And in truth, sometimes I don't even feel like I am better, but I still have to deal with the situations that are handed to me. And so as I got older, you started realizing that bullies never left. Some bullies never even changed. And it only led me to kind of see where it's like, okay, well, again, I'm not trying to be at that level where I'm trying to listen to you, or I'm not trying to stoop to I'm not trying to bring myself down for the sake of making you feel better. So, I mean, it's a really uncomfortable experience, because here you are dealing with someone who's giving you shit constantly, or they're trying to shit on you, or they're trying to make it seem like they're much better than you, and they're deliberately doing that. And sometimes it could be your manager. It sometimes could be a peer who is also a manager with you, or whatever, and they'll try to bring you down. But for me, it's just I felt like even if I got really upset by that, once I got hit with that feeling, that's where I felt very vulnerable, because it's one of those things where you just kind of want to like cry about it, but at the same time, it's just that's when I start thinking to myself about how I don't want to sit with this feeling. I don't want to experience this feeling the next day I go back to work. And so I just started taking it more on myself of just pulling myself away from that person, and just taking the time to work on myself, or just develop myself at my job. And eventually I outperform them, and then they hold less and less power over me. So, I mean, the takeaway for me here is just that I'm never really comfortable. I take on bigger roles a lot, but it doesn't make me any more comfortable with myself than I originally was. It just means that I'm dealing with something that's a newer level. I think Cola fell asleep.
I'm back. No. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
So,
I mean,
what we
hopefully,
don't know is that Cola was my bully, and I was shorter and browner than him.
yeah.
And he was just like, "Fuck you, man."
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, hopefully like people figure it. I mean, however you discover it, it's gonna happen. It's eventually gonna happen. So,
Mhm. Where did
It's
you
like-
get
it's-
shamed for, like, your stuff?
school, high
what?
school,
Hmm?
high school,
Mm-hmm.
high school, even college. I think
So
it
they
was
just came up
mostly
to you and be like-
college.
So they just come up to
It's
you
like
like, ha, ha, ha,
mostly-
look at this dude. He wears a shirt with pants.
Literally, it was like that. I think it was one girl. I didn't know I was short until I went to college, and one of the girl, like, she came up to me. She was like, I would definitely date you if you were a foot taller. That's what she said to me. And then for me, like, in my head, I was thinking, if you were 100 pounds lighter, I would definitely date you.
If you were
So-
what?
If you were 100 pounds lighter.
Oh, I heard if you were a sugar glider that I would date you. I was like, what? Like the squirrel?
If you were a
Like,
sugar glider, I would
I
date
think
you.
Cola just told us he's a furry.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's people that does their thing. I would definitely love to date a sugar glider if that's possible.
Mm.
But yeah, so I think that's when it happens. Like, you're 25 and it's like, oh shit, this is like,
Mhm.
it's like people are just really honest about you, or people don't know how to deal with you. It's like that. So I was like,
Mhm.
So there was moments where, yeah, I was like, oh shit, I am short. And then just looking at everybody else, I'm like, oh my god, I am short compared to these people. Yes, I'm short.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, with that, how would you feel about? So, since you feel comfortable with yourself and dealt with all the shame and stuff like that, what about when it's the reverse? When it's someone else who is stepping out of their comfort zone, or someone who's dealing with their insecurities? Would you would you kind of haze them about it? Or would you
No,
actually?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that at all. I think.
Bet you do that to me all the time. Fucking
I
bully.
think even.
Yeah.
I think in college it's just like, you know what? There's like a lot of people dealing with their own shit. Definitely come. You can come and hang out with me. Blah blah blah. But I'm not. I'm not gonna bully you and stuff like that. But I mean,
They're
people
like,
are dealing
no.
people are dealing with their own securities and stuff like that, and like you definitely have to acknowledge where like know where they're coming from and stuff like that. So it's like, so yeah, I definitely like, I'm not. So I mean, if you confront me about it, I would not. I would not bully that person or make them feel less. That's like the opposite of that.
So-
I don't want to do.
Okay. So what if you had what if you had a coworker that was like a furry, and then they're just like, hey, Cola, like, let's go hang out at at one of the conventions that I like to go to.
I would go. I'm definitely
Really?
interested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no. I'm like, I would go. I like to be in weird places. So
Okay. I haven't heard those experiences from you yet, but I look forward to those stories. Yeah, I mean, yeah. For me, it's definitely. I wouldn't. Having experienced a lot of stuff like that myself, it does give you a level of compassion and understanding. So, I mean, I would definitely be accepting of someone else who is of a different kind of interest than I am. It's more along the lines of, as long as it's not being forced upon me, it sort of like you know, like I'm gonna be over exaggerating here, but it's just if someone if you know a friend came out to me, then I would just be like, okay, cool. Like it doesn't necessarily change anything between us. Some things will change if, you know, all of a sudden you put your dick on my shoulder and expect me to do something with that. I mean, I will test my waters, but I would inevitably say no. I would give it a kiss here and there.
Anyways, that's good. That's the end. Wrap things up. Walker, have a good holiday. Have a good holiday. Hopefully,
Happy
I
holidays,
can put
you
this
all.
up tomorrow.
Hopefully,
I can put this up tomorrow.
hopefully, we'll see.
But
We'll see how my computer
but
decides to act.
You'll hear it in March. You'll hear it in March.
Or you'll hear it next year in 2021. So, Merry Christmas, everyone. You know, have a